Good. Okay, peace, everybody watching. This is brother John, brother Hi John. I'm here with Tremikus, Muhammad, brother Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
We at Grassrootz Bookstore, and I'm here to basically interview the brother based on his wisdom and experience when it comes to Black community service, or just let's say community service and agriculture and farming, and especially with gardening.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. And I would just like you to introduce yourself, brother, and maybe give us a little background.
Okay.
To make
Well, my name, of course, as you already said, is Brother Tremikus. I'm the chair of the Phoenix Local Organizer Committee for Justice L. So, for those who don't know, the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called the Justice Else movement to begin into fruition. And of course, there were different chapters around the country, and we were the chapter and are the chapter here in Phoenix. So that's the work I've been doing for the last 6 years. But for the last 20 or 30 years, starting in Flint, Michigan, I've been doing community work, real grassroots work, working with everything from gardening to gang members, right, or so-called gang members. So that's been my work for the last 30 years, with a heavy concentration now and an understanding that we have a mission, and that mission is to establish independence and separation and begin to lay the foundation for self-governance for Black people, right? Which is to say, hey, why keep asking for somebody else to do for us? Well, we have the ability, we have the skill set, we have the technology, we have the education, we could do it for ourselves. So with that being said, we focus on developing 10 ministries. The Ministry of Agriculture, which attracted your attention, the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, Arts and Culture. So we do work in many different areas, justice work, just really working to develop our skill set and bring brothers and sisters together around that to make a real impact and change in our community that's ours, that we dictated the agenda. So that's been kind of my work, concentrated for the last 6 years. And it's a culmination of really what I've been blessed to do for the last almost 30 years.
That's beautiful, man.
That's powerful. Blessing, brother.
You had it, I don't know if he's willing to share like background information, like where you're born, like your upbringing,
Oh, yes, sir.
and what brought you to like, let's say, consciousness.
Yeah, I was born in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
And
heard about that.
Yeah, a lot of people heard about Flint from the water crisis, but Flint has been in crisis for a long time, right?
I heard about that as well.
Yeah, when the factory left. So I was born in Flint, Michigan, raised on the streets of Flint, Michigan. Had a little stint in the gang life, a little extent into drug life, until I was, from about 12 to 16 years old. And then when I turned 16, I joined the Nation of Islam.
What age?
Huh?
At what age?
16.
At 16.
16. I was junior in high school.
Okay.
And I joined the Nation of Islam. It's over there on the desk, but I was with one of my friends who was also a gangbanger. And we were getting ready to get into something. And he pulled out of his book bag the autobiography of Malcolm X. Now, we're both gangbangers. He's doing the same thing I'm doing. Matter of fact, in my opinion, he was doing a little bit worse than me, right? Because he hit his thing was generational. And he looked at me and he said, man, you need to read this book. And he handed me the book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. And once I read that book, my consciousness was pricked. But I wasn't all the way there. Later on in that same year, I met a brother who was in the Nation of Islam. And that brother invited me to the mosque.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to the mosque, the rest is history, brother. I was ready to go. So that started my journey of consciousness, and study,
Right.
reading.
Yeah.
Once you become conscious, you start absorbing knowledge. And I discovered, and I never talked about this before, but I discovered, like most of us, what they were teaching me in school.
Right. Deprivation. Yeah.
It wasn't the truth.
That's
right. It wasn't free. So I emptied my book bag of all my school books, and I would go to the library with a book bag full of books, but they weren't school books. And when the teachers started talking about, for instance, I had a teacher that was saying that mathematics came from the Greeks.
Okay, yeah.
And immediately, and I did this in almost every class, brother, I started pulling my books out of my book bag. And I would debate the teachers in the classroom for the subject, but for the subject they were teaching. But it helped raise my consciousness. And it helped put me in a certain space to understand that I have a responsibility. So that's kind of my background. And then, of course, we moved to Phoenix about 10 years ago because of some health issues I was having at the time. And my doctor, was a naturopathic doctor, was here. So we moved to Phoenix. And for a long time, I was down, honestly, dealing with health issues because it was a little break when I came to Phoenix. And, of course, about, I'm going to say maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, this opportunity came up to restart the work of the ministry work.
Can I ask you this? Wasn't Elijah Muhammad based out here as well?
Yeah, he had the home here. And we still have the home.
Back in like the 70s, 80s? Yeah.
60s, 70s. We still have the home here. As a matter of fact, y'all Minister Louis Farrakhan is at that home that still belongs to the Nation of Islam. So from time to time, the minister is here.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but I want to go back just a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's important. The work of the ministry not meaning religious ministry, ministry meaning governmental ministries.
That's right. Administration.
It's governmental ministry, the ministry that serve the needs of our people. We started that work in Flint, Michigan. So what we did here and what we're doing here in Phoenix, we're literally taking the growth and development of that template, justice, education, defense, agriculture, trade and commerce. We're taking that template from Flint, Michigan, and growing it, expanding it, taking the same thing here in Phoenix. Now, when I was in Flint, I was blessed because we did so much, and this is important, organizing work. We did so much great organizing work for the local organizing committee there that I end up being, I'm going to say, quasi-title regional director, where I was helping LOCs, local organizing committees throughout the central United States, the Midwest region, and some in the South. So this is for me an expanded work, and it's become my life work. In actuality, I've dedicated my life to the organizing of our people. Yes, sir. Because I'm sorry, brother. I know you. Tell me when to stop.
No, I know the frame where you're expressing everything that's necessary. That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Because when I interject is with a question where I feel as though it's missing something.
Yes, sir.
And we do have these questions here, but these are based on agriculture, like I said. But you're comfortable to flow. I'll know when we need to get back to the relevant points. But all of that you're saying is totally relevant.
Yes, sir.
Totally.
Yes, sir. So that just to give you, I'm trying to give you 30 years worth of history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And pull it out of my mind, but. I'll say this has been my life work now. This has been my purpose, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to do it. And mind you, and we'll get into it, it ain't just me.
Right.
There's a group of us that have come together. Now consider this. We're Muslims in the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. We got Muslims that are not in the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. We got brothers and sisters that follow African spirituality.
Right.
We got brothers and sisters from the Hebrew Israelite or former Hebrew Israelites. Mm-hmm. We got brothers and sisters who are Christians.
Yeah, it's fundamental. Yeah,
they're all part of our organization.
That's beautiful.
So
that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly, and we've been able. You hear people say black people can't unite. We got too many differences. But we are the real demonstration that you can come together with different religions, different ideologies, different understandings even of what you are a part of, and still work together cooperatively in peace and in unity to build something for our people that's tangible.
That's absolutely necessary. I want to tell you something interesting. You see what I have written right here? I don't know if it's inappropriate to ask you at this moment, but you see what I've written as the fourth.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's exactly the same.
Yes, sir.
So I'm right on time with
Yes, sir.
that type
That's
of
real.
mentality.
That's real.
That's what is appropriate. I've shown people graphs. I didn't bring the graphs with me today. Maybe I did, but I can show you the graph in the future. But basically, that during garbage time was like 1930s, 1940s or so. That even in NOI, like Elijah Muhammad and so on, all of them were affiliated. The Hebrews over there in Philly and New York, all of them were pretty much cooperative. There was no real division. Ideologically, obviously, there's different doctrines, but that's not relevant when you're dealing with real work, or
Yes,
real
sir.
practical work.
That's
The
real.
ideologies have to stay on the side or at home or in their own community, if they're Islamic or if they're, like say, Hebrew or Christian.
But the
Because
minister,
Garvey was a Christian,
yes, sir. The minister said something very critical, and that's my teaching. But he said, we can't talk about, I'm paraphrasing this word, we can't argue over religion or ideology when we're not free.
That's a fact.
The first thing is to get